morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests, here in person and virtually. My name is Ellen Rosenblatt, and I am a member of your Board of Trustees. Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. Deidre Price, our social justice coordinator, is working with our local Tongva tribe on how we can ally with them. Please contact her if you would like to help with those efforts. Today's music is provided by our music director, Dr. Zenaida Robles, and the multi-talented, melodious Neighborhood Church Choir. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Thank you for joining us as we continue to prioritize connection over perfection in this hybrid service, which is streamed and recorded on YouTube. Based on guidance from our COVID safety team, each of us now decides whether we wear a mask and honors the decisions of others. Families with young children are welcome in the sanctuary, the narthex, or in our new family lounge in the living room of Neighborhood House, where the service is live streamed on a big screen. Warm congratulations to Matt Vasco, our Director of Spiritual Education, for becoming a credentialed religious educator with the UUA. Also, a shout out to our Esperanza crew, who are now in Mexico this weekend. Their work is an important part of our social justice program. Yay. On a more serious topic, recent threats to our local faith communities heighten our awareness of risks and safety. One simple step that we can all take is to be aware of our surroundings and the location of exits, including that there's one right here, which doesn't have an exit sign. Here. And here. Sorry, lost my place. Email Facilities Coordinator Anna Cremarosa or speak with a board member if you want more information or you'd like to get involved with safety efforts. Our annual meeting will be next Sunday, May 21st at 11:30 a.m., following a single service at 10 a.m., which is next week's also the date when we go to single services at 10 a.m. through the summer. The annual meeting will be a relatively simple meeting using raised hands for votes, both in person and on Zoom. Board and Finance Committee members have been holding a few pre-annual meeting discussions to talk about items on the annual meeting agenda. There's one left this Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Zoom. We will follow that meeting with a potluck lunch. Please see the newsletter for alphabetical food assignments. Next week, I already announced this, but I think I jumped ahead when I was talking. We're going to one service only at 10 a.m. Our order of service and more extensive announcements are available as a link in the Sunday email posted on the narthex or through the QR code on the back of your hymnal. You can always get more information on these and many other activities at the welcome table. One activity which I would like to highlight is Drag Queen Bingo Night, which will take place the next First Friday dinner, which is June 2nd. Let's indoctrinate our children and our whole community with the values of inclusion, pride, and fun. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. Welcome to our inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service. And now, Ryan Holmes will speak to us about our youth spiritual education program.
Good morning. My name is Ryan Favre Holmes, and for the past year, I have been one of 4 teachers in the TK through first grade spiritual education class, spiritual exploration class. When Matt asked me to speak this month during Teacher Recruitment Month, hint, hint, I began thinking of all the reasons that I participate as a teacher. Giving back to the church, continuing teaching in a small way, keeping kids busy so their parents can come to service. In short, contributing to the community. But perhaps my spiritual exploration experience is best summed up by two interactions I had at church just last week. The first is the lovely experience I had milling around on the patio and running into a former teacher of mine that I had when I was in spiritual exploration. Each time I see him, I think about how all those Sundays kept me connected to this place and how I got to know him and the other teachers, as well as fellow classmates, some of whom I see here today. The second moment was when I went out to greet my class when I taught last week. The teachers in our group teach every second and third week or so. There are enough of us that we do get some time off to be able to attend service. But we have a pretty consistent cohort of kiddos who come to our class. Last week, one of the boys, for the very first time, I'd seen him much, but this was the first time he had done this, ran up to me and gave me a big hug and held my hand on the way to class as we chatted about what we would do for the next 30 minutes or so that we would have together. It was such a joy to feel like I could give him some small sense of happiness and connection to this place that I love. So if that sounds at all appealing to you, I would encourage you to reach out to Matt and express your interest in becoming a teacher in the CYSE program. On the whole, it is a unique experience with wonderful people and an already organized curriculum, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are several age group classes who could benefit from your talents, so please consider becoming a teacher for spiritual exploration. Thank you.
let's rise as you're willing and able and greet one another this morning. And if you did not bring a flower with you, please go and grab one from the narthex. All right, thank you. We have a big service this morning. All kinds of things going on. As we light our chalice this morning, may we be mindful of how radical and powerful love is, and how dangerous those who use fear perceive love to be. May we know how necessary and essential it is to keep alive the message of universal love, of humanity, human dignity, of reverence for life, all creation, in our hearts and in our actions, for we now are keepers of that flame.
Our opening hymn is number 38, and your gray hymnals are on the screens above. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Praise for the Lord. things today. For graduating seniors, we celebrate with the ritual of bridging, which recognizes their transition into adulthood. And if I have anybody from the young adult group, if you could come and join us on the side to welcome the, thank you.
Yay. Thank you, young adults.
Thank you.
Yes, you can applaud them.
Crossing the bridge symbolizes crossing into a new phase of life and church participation while maintaining their connection to those ties that sustain them throughout their growing up years.
The significance of this ritual is that it also honors the dedication and effort of the parents in our church and this religious community's commitment to our young people. Our bridging ceremony recognizes the love of parents and families, the commitment of teachers and advisors, and the support of every one of you. May our seniors please come up and join us here at the stage right side of our bridge.
Today we pause to honor you at this time of change and transformation. We treasure the gifts you bring to our community and stand with you as you face the uncertainties of a future you cannot know. We bless you now as you move into that future and its opportunities. We honor you at this important milestone. We will call you out by your names, and one by one you will cross the bridge into young adulthood. Our gathering of young adults will welcome you into young adult on the other side of the bridge. Noreen Elzatma. Ava Shetman.
Having crossed the bridge, I invite the two of you to come and stand with me and allow this church to bless you and welcome you as full members of the congregation. Congregation, please stand. Let us welcome these young adults to the adult congregation of Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church and to the UU young adult community at large by repeating after me. We honor you at this time.
We honor you at this time
of change and transformation.
of change and transformation.
May this church and this faith always be a home to you.
Always be a home to you.
We bless you now. And pledge our support. Amen.
So this year marks the 100th anniversary of the development of the ritual of flower communion. And this was a ritual developed by the Czech Unitarian minister, Norbert Čapek. Norbert Čapek came over to America and learned about Unitarianism and thought it was a really important religious message to bring back to his country in Czechoslovakia. They were just recovering from World War I, and people were in need of community but did not want to feel pressed into one religious perspective or another. So at one time he had the largest Unitarian church in the world because it was so significant for people at that time to have a community that was important to them. And so he thought about, what is the way that I can honor this diversity that won't make one religious group more uncomfortable than another? And so he came up with this idea of a flower communion in which you give and you receive a flower as a way of really weaving a community together and honoring the diversity of the beauty that all of us bring. Now, this is a lovely ceremony, and it's very sweet, and it also reminds us of a very sad ending to Norbert Chapek's life. Because Norbert Chapek honored diversity and did so much to welcome people from all walks of life, he was arrested by the Nazis during World War II and died at Dachau concentration camp. So it's a significant story about how important the honoring of diversity is, so important that he would risk his life and make his life a testimony to that important value. So I'm going to read for you his words of consecration that he wrote. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationships, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. So I invite you to come up and place your flower and take another one with you. You can come around this other aisle, folks, over here. We can do this together. In the very last days of Norbert Chapek's life, before he was put to death in the concentration camp, he wrote these words: "It is worthwhile to live and fight courageously for sacred ideals. Oh, blow ye evil winds into my body's fire, my soul you'll never unravel. Even though disappointed 1,000 times or fallen in the fight and everything would worthless seem, I have lived amidst eternity. Be grateful, my soul. My life was worth living." Amen. And now the children can go to their classes, to their spiritual exploration classes, as we sing them out.
Giving is a spiritual practice through which we put our values into action. Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of its contributions to a local social justice organization or activity. In addition to the plate, online giving is available using the QR code on the donations box just outside the sanctuary or using the text instructions shown on the screen. If you wish to make a payment towards your pledge or contribute to church operations, make a note in the subject line or use an envelope available at the donation box. The offering today goes to the LA Education Corps, and here to tell us more about it is our own Lexi Schwade.
Hi again. I'm Lexi, and I am a reading specialist at LA Education Corps, and I really feel like it goes along with my UU values because it was described to me as, when I first started working there, as a second chance school. So people that have had different difficulties in life, dropped out, want to drop back in, have had, different issues with the law, things like that, that regular high schools just don't work for them. And we have regular youth age high schools, and we have adult high schools. And the adult high schools also have a job part to it. We actually just recently opened up a CNA certification program on one of the campuses, which is awesome. And yeah, they can get paid and get different kinds of scholarships for things and things like that through the program as well. So thank you for helping us.
Will the volunteers please bring the plates forward, and thank you for giving generously.
There we go. There we go. A couple of things I just want to say. This morning, I'm dedicating this next piece to all of us who have mothers who are no longer physically present in our lives. My own mother left my physical sight in '93, and she's responsible for my music. So this is a piece by this is divine intervention. I had no idea of the connection, the Czech connection, but I'm going to be singing a piece from Anton Dvorak's Gypsy Songs in Czechoslovakian. And it is called Songs My Mother Taught Me. And the translation is that whenever my mother would teach me songs as a child, I would always see a tear in her eye. Now when I teach young voices those songs, I too cry.
Krishna
Motherhood and our experiences of it, diverse as they are, is a complicated subject, one that is poorly represented by the Hallmark variety of that. So in a kind of different way of praying, I'm going to invite you to participate with me in a ritual that was written by the Reverend Julia Hamilton, the UU minister in Santa Barbara, and at the end of which, and it's about differing stories of the choices surrounding motherhood, each of which is an honored choice in itself. And so after I place each flower, I will invite you to say, "May our stories be held in love and acceptance." So let's practice that. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. So I place the first flower for those whose story includes the choice to end a pregnancy. The circumstances vary. The timelines of our lives are diverse. But each and every end is also a beginning. And so I place this flower for all who have aborted a pregnancy or partnered someone in an abortion for whatever reason, under whatever circumstances. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. I place the second flower for those whose story includes the unwanted loss of a pregnancy or a struggle with fertility. The circumstances vary. The timelines of our lives are diverse, but the pain of infertility, miscarriage, and stillbirth are too often held in silence. And so I place this flower for all who have traveled this path of loss for whatever reason, under whatever circumstance. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. I place the third flower for those whose story includes the choice to give birth. The circumstances vary. The timelines of our lives are diverse, but the choice to bring a new life into the world is a powerful one. And so I place this flower for all who have given birth or partnered in the birth of a child, or those who have adopted a baby birthed by someone else, for whatever reason, under whatever circumstance. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. I place the fourth flower for those whose story includes the choice not to conceive or have children. The circumstances vary. The timelines of our lives are diverse, but the freedom to chart the course of our own reproductive life is sacred. So I place this flower for all who have made the decision not to conceive or bear children, for whatever reason, under whatever circumstance. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. I place the fifth flower for those whose story includes a forced choice or no choice at all, who have encountered violence where there should have been tenderness and care. The circumstances vary. The timelines of our lives are diverse, but not everyone has been in the position to control their own reproductive choices. So I place this flower for all who have found themselves unable to exercise their own sacred reproductive freedom, for whatever reason, under whatever circumstance. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. I place the sixth and final flower for those whose reproductive story is still being written. The circumstances vary, the timelines of our lives are diverse, but the future unfolds in surprising and unexpected ways that can be both beautiful and heartbreaking. And so I place this flower for all who are at the threshold, who have agency and choices still to make about their reproductive lives, for whatever reason, under whatever circumstance. May our stories be held in love and acceptance. May the beauty of these flowers and the many stories they represent remind us of the connection and the commitment we have to each other to thrive and to grow, which includes the surety that all people have freedom and agency over their choices, and that reproductive justice is upheld as a fundamental right for this and future generations. Amen. Because of the inequities in our country's immigration system, such as it is, our intern, Angeline Jackson, has been unable to be with us physically for the last 2 years. So I've invited her to reflect briefly on the meaning of Flower Communion.
Good morning, neighborhood. The beauty of the Flower Communion is that we are reminded of the many ways humans show up in the world, diversities in our sexualities, gender expressions or identities, ethnicities, beliefs, political persuasions, and other diversities. In addressing the history of the Flower Communion, Reverend Dr. Peter Samoyski, minister of the Prague Unitarian congregation in the Czech Republic, shares that the ideal of this event invites us to look beyond our differences, to say, you suffer, this is enough for me. You belong to me, and I shall help you. But how will we help the other? Do we concentrate our supports of helping others on achieving their individual freedoms? The liberal fight for reproductive rights, the freedom to marry, and the ability to access asylum processes, among others? Or do we focus our support of others on becoming free from the systems that cause oppression, liberating our society from the hold of sexism that tries to dictate reproductive rights in one particular way, heterosexism that drives people to oppose trans rights, marriage equality, and strengthen laws to criminalize LGBTQ plus identity and relations, nationalism that leads to the exclusion of others, and policies and actions that cause or contribute to conflict and destabilization in foreign lands. We are invited to become more than liberals working for societal changes. We are invited to take the next step to become liberationists working for transformation, to live into our words and promises, not just saying them. In order to create the environment for a diverse multicultural community, the one represented here in this communion, we have to live into our affirmation of the eighth principle by doing the next level of work that supports the development of a more diverse neighborhood Unitarian Universalist church. That next level of work asks us to engage in deep introspection, to reflect on our actions, words, even our social justice efforts and activism, to ask ourselves why. Why did we sign the petition? Why did we go to the protest? Why did we blank? Fill in that blank, fill in that space with your earliest memory of a social justice engagement. What led you to that action? To create transformation in our world, we're also asked to recognize our own oppression. If you belong to me and I to you, and we can recognize our oppression in its connection to each other, then we may also come to recognize that until each person is liberated, then none of us truly are. Queer couples with the right to marry aren't free unless and until queer people in Uganda aren't criminalized just for being queer. The blue-collar, hard-working white person with a guaranteed right to political representation isn't free until all people, all non-white folks across every state has the same guaranteed right to political representation. The American dream for people who look the right way and speak the right way isn't truly available for every American until all Americans, regardless of hyphenation, can also achieve that dream. For our church, for neighborhood, to reflect the diversity of these flowers and of our society, we must become willing to be transformed. Not to be transformed as a passive act of something happening to us, but to be a transformative force acting upon the world. Friends, when you leave with your flowers today, and reflect on the diversity we are called to foster. I hope you remember these words by Reverend Mark Harris in his book, Elite, Uncovering Classism in Unitarian Universalist History. He says, how can we find a model for church renewal that will truly reflect the diversity we say we want in our faith? That faith says we believe that people of every race, class, color, and sexual orientation are welcome. We preach openness in diversity, in theology, and identity. But where are those people who represent this diversity in America? They are not in our stackable chairs. Amen.
Our closing hymn is number 78 in your gray hymnal or on the screens above, and it is written, the music and words, by Dr. Norbert Chopik, our featured minister. Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing number 78, Chopik's Color and Fragrance.
I just recently came across these words by the artist Frida Kahlo about an interesting vision of diversity. She says, "I used to think I was the strangest person in the world. But then I thought, there are so many people in the world. There must be someone just like me who feels bizarre and flawed in the same ways I do. I would imagine her and imagine she must be out there thinking of me too. Well, I hope you are out there and hear this and know that, yes, it's true. I'm here and I'm just as strange as you."